Hi friends, it's Julianne. If you don't already know about me, I'm a sustainable fashion designer and I do a lot of upcycling, repairing, mending, fixing clothing, as well as thrift flips, but I'm also here to educate and teach. So if you're into that sort of thing, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification. So for today's tutorial, I'm going to be fixing and sizing down some denim. I found these two very gorgeous pairs of jeans from the 70s. One is from the Gap, the other has this really pretty bird embroidery on it. So I really want to preserve as much as I can of these vintage jeans, as well as size them down enough to fit my body. So I want to go through the path of least resistance, as well as least visible in repairs. So let's get right to it. First up are these vintage Gap jeans. I love the pocket on these jeans and it has a very good flare, but they need a little slimming on the sides. So the easiest and least visible fix would be to take out the top stitching on the side seams all the way down and then trim off some length of the pants as well. Before you start to take out stitches, take note of how much you are taking in. For these pants, it's about 1/2 inch each side, totaling 2 inches total to take in at the waist. This part is a little tedious, but just throw on a podcast and carefully take out the stitches. But I just learned that if you pull on the chain stitch underneath in the opposite direction, it will come right off. Here are the pants taken apart. I left about 3 inches on the bottom to cut so I could reattach the original hem. More on that later. These are the hems pinned and ready to cut. Do this before trimming the sides and save for later. Give the sides a quick steam so it's nice and flat for the next step. Now mark the amount you want to trim off. These were super flared, so I'm trimming down the whole leg. Otherwise, you would just taper the cut to where you want the slimming to stop. Now cut the waistband to fit the new waist. Remove any belt loops and save them for later. Before you start, make sure you are using a size 16 or 18 needle meant for thicker fabric. Also change the stitch length to be a little longer to accommodate the thickness of the fabric. Now sew the side seams together and overlock or finish the edges however you like. Then we want to put the waistband back together by matching it up to the new side seam and then cutting any excess, but leave enough seam allowance to sew together. Then sew right sides together. Next, we are going to reattach the waistband. Line up with the side seams and top stitch with a similar color and overlap previous stitch about 1 inch on each side. Then attach belt loop. It's best to walk your sewing foot on these bulky parts so you don't break the needle. Also, using something like a small ruler to lift the back edge of the foot as you sew levels out the foot, making it easier to sew. To finish off these jeans, we are going to take the hem we trimmed off in the beginning and attaching back the original hem. I do this by measuring the new opening of the pant by trimming the side seams, then sewing as close as possible to the stitching on the jeans. Then I overlock the seams. For our final pair of jeans that we're going to fix are these gorgeous super wide belled pants with a really pretty bird embroidery. These pants are big on the waist, so we're going to take in quite a bit on the side seams, center back, and remove the pocket, resize it to match proportionally, and then reattach it. Before you take any stitches out, take note of how much you're taking in. On these is about 1.5 inch on each side, 2 inches on the center back, and also marking where I want to taper it to 0. Now you want to remove part of the waistband so you have room to sew. I'm going to remove the waistband just a few inches past the side seam towards the front. Also completely remove the pocket at this time too. This is how it looks like with the waistband partially removed and pocket detached. Now we are ready to work on the rest. Starting off with the center back seam, I just marked how much I want to take in, then sew, trim, and overlock edges. To preserve the bird embroidery, I marked the side seams and tapered off to 0 right above the bird and did the same to the other side. At this point, I like to double check the fit before I put on the pocket and the waistband back on. This looks pretty good, but I might just take in a tiny bit more on the sides. Now that the side seams are all sewn together, I have a better idea of how much space I need for the pocket in the back. It was already larger than normal to begin with, so I trimmed about 1/3 inch all around, then re-top stitched with a similar color. Then you want to reattach the waistband, taking the same amount you took in on the sides and the center back to match with the new waist. I decided to take off all the top stitching and redo it just so it looks clean and everything matches. For the hem, I only trimmed about 1/2 inch just so it's floating off the ground and not dragging. Thanks so much for watching this tutorial. I hope this inspires you to fix and size down your denim. If you want more tutorials like this, please comment below. Also, say hi to me on my socials. I put out fashion and sewing related things there too. Thanks again. I'll see you guys next time.